Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Server Room. I'm Nandini, your host for the podcast. And today we have Rajendran Dandapani with us, who is the Director of Engineering at Zoho Corp, as well as the President of Zoho Schools of Learning. Welcome to the episode, Raj. How do you feel?
Namaste. Feels like coming back, sitting with you. We have worked before as a student and teacher. Now working with you and making this happen feels a little special.
Same here. Same here. It's been 5 years to bring us to this table together. And it's been a journey. It's definitely been a journey. I was here asking you questions before, and I am here asking you questions again.
Nice.
None. So today I want to ask you about this term called product thinking and what it is. I remember having classes with you where we used to talk about products and how you can actually build products from scratch and then, build a story around it. So today I want to ask you about how you can make different services and look through all of them through the product thinking.
Okay. Before we probably get into the specific answer to the question you asked, let's look at the term product thinking itself. India as a country, IT capital of the world, some say, but very often we have settled for the lower hanging fruit. We have said we've got good, I call them code monkeys and script junkies. We've got a lot of them. So anybody has an amazing project to give us, something to clock us on, something that we can undercut on terms of price and quality, we'll get it done for you faster than, better than anybody else in the world. And we will move on to the next project. So it's been a time and money based game for too many people for too long. I think this term that you used, product thinking, Zoho was lucky to have had good founders with that intent very deeply ingrained in them. They started this company 30 years ago now by saying, I don't want to go that easy path. Even if this is the road less traveled, we will build products. And also, if you look at it from the startup lens, if you want to have disproportionate impact, a few people building something 10x more productive and many times magical, the impact that those 10 people can have will be exponentially higher. And if you want to double your revenue, double your headcount should not be the approach.
Yeah.
In the product thinking world, adding one AI researcher, for example, today into your company and building an AI layer to your product or building an AI version of an existing product won't just make your output a fraction better, but instead it will give you a leapfrog into the next generation of products. So that product thinking is very important. Now, to your question, may I hear it again?
So I want to know in terms of IT.
Okay.
So how would somebody actually look at products in terms of IT through the lens of product thinking?
Okay.
So it's okay.
So typically, IT has been relegated server room. It's been relegated to the server room. Those always on, always available, usually slightly irritated folk who are upset that they are working long hours and have to respond to some silly password reset issues. Right? So it's been you ask me to do something, I'll get it fixed for you. You ask me to provision something, I'll get it done for you. It's been a reactive rather than a creative team in the company. I think, Mark Andreessen 15 years ago said, software is eating the world. And now if you were to rephrase using the same punchline, we would say AI is eating the software that's eating the world. Yeah. So time has come for us to rethink every department, including the department of IT. IT is information technology.
Yeah.
Probably sometimes the way we call something, the way we define something starts to have an impact on how that works. So it's not the technology that's important. It is the information that's more important. So I would rather submit that we rechristen this to tech-enabled information.
Okay.
So if an IT team in a company can start looking at what can I automate? How can I speed things up? How can I reduce error? How can I improve the bottom line? How can I improve or speed up organizational velocity, decision making? How can I organize the data this company is generating, every decision, every interaction, every email, every deal that's closed, every hardware and software signal that's captured out there in the ether can potentially be an important contributor to an AI that we can train about the company, that any employee who wants to make a decision can bank on to use for insights. So if the IT team can look at it from that, what is the product that we are building? We are building a platform on top of which every employee can now take decisions faster, reduce error. That is the switch from being reactive. How many tickets did I close? What is my mean time between failures? These are first level metrics to chase. I think you should go higher.
Okay.
How much have I saved in time in terms of money? How many, you could even say, how many human errors have I prevented from happening? So these are aims to have.
Okay. So do you think these features should be part of the product? Like they should be metrics that the product can measure?
You have to be very careful what you measure because Goodhart's law, it's called, when what you measure becomes the target, it ceases to be a good target. For example, if I were to say, I'm going to measure how many nails you make in this manufacturing factory, and I don't tell you how heavy and how large the nail should be, you will just optimize it to number of nails and you will bring me microscopic nails 10,000 in number, which are useless for the ship I'm building. And if I were to say I'm going to measure you on the weight of the nails you make, you'll probably make one nail 1 ton heavy. I need to clearly tell you what I am measuring. The metrics become extremely important. Meaningfully done. Measure what matters, they say. So yes, if you can't measure something, you can't manage it.
Yeah.
But you better be very careful in defining what you're measuring.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Done. So can you share examples of how infrastructure ops support can actually help bring out the importance of product thinking? If you've seen any in your career.
Take Amazon Web Services. They didn't launch it as a product. It was something that they needed to keep their trains running on time.
Yeah.
There weren't any products outside available off the shelf. And so these people doubled down, created something as a platform, like I mentioned earlier, for all of Amazon to use and consume. But simply because they started from day zero, imagining it as an internal product for a customer who happens to be within the company, they were able to productize it much easier later.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay.
So Google has done that. Netflix has done that. Zoho Corp has done that. Today, if we are able to very proudly say Zoho as the application layer, Zoho's data centers being managed by manage engines software tools, it's because we started by scratching our own itch, but we were not reactive. We were not just doing the bare minimum of what was necessary to keep the work going on, but we looked at them as internal customers. And we started having an elevated goal of customer lifetime value or net promoter score internally. Will the internal customer, the employee in the company, talk to us, talk about us in good words, in good terms? Will they recommend us? So when we start looking at it from that point of view, it helps us naturally and automatically to productize these tools. And productizing is important because it removes dependence on that biggest of costs, which is human resources. To continue running an operation, if you want to keep adding more people, that is the additive multiplicative approach to running a company. But if you build something as a product, adding more people can become exponentially impactful.
Yeah. So you as a manager, you handle a lot of products, I'm sure. So how many products on an average do you handle?
4, and I am not a very successful or prolific manager. I have other things to do. And primarily, my team is not the typical product oriented team in the company.
Okay.
We work with a lot of product teams. So we do mobile development, as you may know. And we also do creative design, user experience design. So I could say I have a lot of fingers in a lot of pies. And luckily, I have been able to taste so many of them because Zoho as a company is not driven by a single way or philosophy of building something. But over the 30 years that we have been in existence, we have learned what doesn't work. But we have also realized there is no one single way to make it work.
Yeah.
There is a bunch of them, each slightly loosely different. That's the freedom I'm sure you also enjoy here. So that's my experience.
Okay. So in your experience and in your perspective, I'm sure it's the third person's perspective because my question is very IT specific. So how can managers in the IT teams actually instill or get in practical ways for employees within the company to think about like product thinking when they're developing the product?
I would say first, don't be reactive. You need to have at least 20% of the time that you are at a work environment hived away for long-term thinking, moonshot thinking, experiments where failure is an option. Just learn something meaningful, but failure is an option. And they call that fail fast. Yeah. So you should have one corner, a lab environment where you're welcome to tinker. So that's very important. But of course, if you are in a service mode as an IT team, you cannot, all of you, be experimenting and throwing balls up in the air. So you need to judiciously divide between, I use this analogy often, ensuring you get lunch tomorrow, but also dream about the feast at the end of the month. Right. Yeah. So you need to balance between these two. You can't never have a feast, nor can you go 29 days hungry. Yeah. So you need to have that. That's important. The second, like I mentioned earlier, looking at every entity as the parallel entities in a product world. So what are the entities in a product world? You have resources, you have competitors, you have customers, you have that minimum viable, minimum lovable product that you can build. So have those lined up in a board and look at the daily activities and the monthly, weekly activities that you're doing. Which one of these fits into what of those buckets? So if you can draw a one-to-one mapping for that. And any product is all about bringing 10x productivity to something that's already existing. So why did we start using an iPhone versus the button phone that we all had? Because it was 10x more productive, easier to use, smoother, more capable, made us more powerful. So we overcame the inertia of learning a new interface and struggling through new subscription models and so on. So I think for product thinking, you need to be able to look at which one of these day-to-day activities that I work with within my company, with my hardware, with my software, with my colleagues, where can I bring a 10x impact? And that is probably where the seed of your product lies. And Manage Engine has an amazing track record building those products. And in fact, Manage Engine predates Zoho. Yeah, it's the elder brother, so to speak, elder sister, so to speak. So we have learned that very early. And the way we have also, it's beyond product thinking, suite thinking. So when we look at a product, we also look at it as what domain is it in? What are the allied side products that are anyway going to be needed? What of those can we build if we start thinking framework rather than product? Platform rather than product. Yeah. So that is what the Apple ecosystem achieved very well, I would say. They didn't just build an amazing phone. They didn't just build a powerful OS. They also built a powerful language, a easy to use, powerful language, and a framework using which, do you want to use the camera? Here, just call this. Do you want to access contacts? Just do this. Put these pieces together and now you have Instagram. So they made app building on top of the existing platform easier. So framework thinking is even better. Yeah.
Okay. So, from what you've told me, what I can understand, it's more of a top-down approach rather than you being somewhere in the employees and then figuring out how is it that I can initiate this product thinking. It's more from the culture of the company that it actually comes down with. Am I right?
Yes and no. Top down is important, but one way won't work. So you need to empower your employees all the way down to the smallest leaf, the newest employee who joined just a couple of weeks earlier than today. And what is probably expected is for you to create an environment where you encourage free thinking. So all of you, if you identify a particular routine, a particular task, a particular way things are done, and if you can come up with something that will speed it up, something that can automate it, something that can reduce errors. So I keep saying these three. So speeding it up, automating it, reducing error, and making it reproducible, right? A human can do it 90% right, 90% of the time. But if you automate it, you are reducing the error, making it reproducible. So keeping an eye out to all these activities need not come from top, will actually come from the bottom. Yes. So there was this famous story, I'm not sure, was it Southwest Airlines? I'm not sure, where in the aim to cut costs and reduce the ticket cost and improve the company's efficiency, they did something nobody even noticed. And then millions of dollars saved later, they announced about it. And then all the passengers woke up to it and said, thank God you did it. I didn't bother about it anyway. You recall?
No.
No? So there was this packed lunch that they were given.
Okay.
And somebody, it can't be the CEO, of course, it has to be from the air hostess upwards. Somebody decided to serve these packages without a half cut olive.
Oh.
That's all. That olive was removed. But that olive being removed every flight, 100 passengers per flight, 40 flights a day, 365 days a year, $1 million saved, nobody even noticed. And this idea can come only from somebody who is seeing, meeting
involved,
people,
yeah.
interacting. Probably she took the trash after they had eaten, and she noticed that the olives weren't eaten anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think it's a two-way lane, and you need to empower the back traffic.
Right. Yeah. Makes sense. It's something that I can relate to as well because I, as a person in my team, we host a lot of events. So I can actually understand, and I travel to these events.
Yeah.
So I can actually understand what goes on at events and how much we, as a company, are spending on them and what is actually coming out of it.
They call it from the trenches.
Yeah,
A World War phrase, perhaps, where you may be a general having a big world map in front of you, talking with another general, a 5-star general. But who's the person actually hearing the bullets whizzing past their ears? And they will be giving you the real feedback. I think then it comes down to having your eyes and ears open and not shooting the messenger. That is important too. Yeah. Somebody might criticize something that you put in place. That might be a scope for improvement too. You can't shoot the messenger. You will have to thank them. We even have an anonymous service in my team where anybody can just post any flag without their name, and it gets registered privately to me, and I decide to act upon it. I air it in the open and say somebody wrote, we call it anonymous. So anonymous mouse. And anonymous will tell anything they want.
Yeah.
Yes, sometimes it gets rude, sometimes it's childish, but there are at least a couple that I receive every month where I realize no amount of micromanagement could have yielded that insight for me if I were doing it from top down. It is the ear to the ground. Yeah. As you keep your ear to the ground, you hear the horses passing. That is important.
Yeah. That's right. It also keeps you grounded.
Yeah. Keeps you grounded. Yeah. Worth a high five. Yeah.
Yeah. So, in this world of, I've been through this bubble where VC is very popular and a lot of SaaS products and companies are actually going to them for funding and then growing big. So, Zoho as a company has always been a complete no towards VC and external funding. So, in this age of, I'm not sure if it's a bubble, if I can call VC a bubble right now, because I'm sure it's diminishing, but I don't know where it stands today. But how do you think if somebody were to start a company today, how important is it being completely bootstrapped?
See, starting a company gives me too little information about what domain that company is in. If you are, for example, entering the world of AI, investment is needed simply for hardware. You need to get those GPUs in. You need to get that data center. And in such cases, an infusion at the right time with the right-minded VC who is empathetic enough to understand your long-term dream and is aligned, and they are not just some angel that's gifting you money and going to extract a pound of flesh. I won't hold you against it if you hold it against you if you were to go for a VC. But yes, like you pointed out, Zoho has made it this far and is fully capable of going much farther today with zero external funding. It was a philosophical stand we took. It comes all the way from the parents of Sridhar Vembu and Mani Vembu, who probably instilled in them that, see, a middle class mentality has a negative connotation to it. But there are some very good Indian middle class values about not taking loans that you may not be able to repay, or um, differentiating between greed and need, and making long term bets and living within your means. These are all good values, irrespective of what status you are on. So these values got diffused into the company and the mindset of our people. And you must have noticed that we are not in any of the metropolitan central business zones, all the way from America to Bengaluru to Mumbai to Delhi to Adelaide in Australia. Our offices are out there, away from the noise, away from the traffic, away from high real estate, away from skyscrapers. We are happy. See, that's the advantage of being a cloud company too. Our customers don't come to visit us, they visit us in the cloud. But Sridhar has often maintained that enough of this chest thumping, saying we did it with no external funding, and shame on you to take funding, and so on. Sridhar says, yes, we had a deep philosophy about external funding. We said we needed the autonomy to take long bets. If you become trapped in the funding game, aiming to go public, you become chased quarter to quarter. What have you shown? What is the benefit? Why did you recruit this many? Why is this product still in the game when it's not doing enough revenue, enough profit? Why did you start Zoho Schools of Learning? It's a cost center for you. So these long bets, Zoho Schools of Learning starts yielding results 5 years, 10 years, we are 21 years now into the future. That's when you connect the lines backward, the dots backwards, and realize, yes, that was a good investment. Most VCs don't have the patience to wait it out. They look for an exit. They want you to tell us, how much will I get in return for what I am doing now? And hence the slight antipathy towards the venture capital game. But Sridhar has often said, we had this philosophy, we stuck to it, we succeeded. But let me tell you this, there is another company somewhere else with the exact opposite philosophy of what we have taken, which is also probably succeeding out there. Yeah. So that humility, that inclusive humility. What is more important is not the philosophy you have, but the conviction you attach to that philosophy. If you will rather die than break a rule, the rule doesn't matter anymore. You will win because of that conviction with which you hold on to it. Yeah, you will do anything to make it work. That has led us here, not some holier than thou attitude about VCs. But yes, because we are from Zoho and I am from Zoho Corp, I will strongly recommend, do not borrow if you can afford not to. Yeah. So don't be in the quest for, Zoho launched a beautiful video campaign a couple of months ago called It Takes Time. Yeah. Waqt lagta hai. So this It Takes Time episode kind of underlined a philosophy that we have always had. We are not the first to do anything. We will follow. We will make mistakes, but we will not lose heart. We will be the last man standing. We will keep fighting. Captain America, yeah, hit me. I can do this all day. And that has yielded us more good results than rushing in, wanting to be the first, trying to make good of a viral moment in social media, riding a wave, um, kind of relaxing our stance on something just because a nice opportunity to make a quick buck has made itself available. That has never been done. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that. I can see that in the last 5 years I've been here. Yeah. So if I were to ask you, does do you I mean, do bootstrapped companies have enough freedom to move fast and break things?
Okay, move fast and break things. Unfortunately, I think it was Zuckerberg who made it popular. But later, I even remember watching an interview where he clarifies move fast and break things does not give you the liberty to break something in production or violate customer data privacy and so on. But constraints are good. If you have infinite money and infinite time, you will lose a sense of purpose. Why should I do this? I already have the money. I anyway have time. Creativity flourishes when there is a constraint in time or a constraint in money. You can't spend all you want. That's when, look at this R, for example. Yeah. So, why is this like this? You have, within the budgets that you have been given, within the time that you have available for you, you have set things up, you have optimized it, you have successfully run this program for so many weeks, and you wear a badge of achievement and accomplishment that's shining brighter than somebody else in some other company who has been provided a studio, professional camera. This is being shot on an iPhone. Yes?
Yeah.
So you have learned how to use those tools. You didn't know that before. You have two tools monitoring the sound level, the video, and the lighting. This is accomplishment. Throwing money at a problem, getting things sorted out, we don't need you anymore. An AI can do as good a job. What really, what's more valuable? What really brings out the human industry or human endeavor into the game is within the constraint of time, within the constraint of money, within the constraint of available resources. How can you still provide world-class customer support? How can you still, Zoho itself, so many of its tools are actually resource magnifiers. So there is this product called Sales IQ, for example. If you activate it on your website, there's a little chat box that comes in the corner, and you can start chatting with an engineer or an employee or a customer support person and so on. I was at an event, and one of the Zoho customers there told us about how they use the chatbot to talk to their customers. And this lady said, I wear 6 different hats. I have 6 different names. I don't want the visiting customer to think I am a one-person shop. So one day I am Jivita, who is doing customer support. The other day I am Tony, who is the engineer. And they don't know that they are talking to the same person. Right? So this magnifier, it is a potential magnifier. IT or technology tools. So if you can bring that potential magnifier, constraints are good.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So continuing on this, like frugality and jugaad, as I can say. Yeah. So how can IT leaders learn from all of this? Because they're always under pressure to justify costs. Like every month, they're always at, okay, so what happened with this? So, how can they learn from this kind of mindset to better demonstrate their values?
I think they need to measure everything. They need to aim to measure the higher and more important parameters rather than just getting things done, getting done. That's very important. And celebrate small wins. Internally, um, in fact, in an IT team that I remember being part of many, many years ago, we decided to actually have an internal virtual currency.
Okay.
So if I were to purchase Photoshop on my computer, I pay Adobe some money and Adobe sends me a license. If my monitor had developed a crack or some color grading problem and it requires a replacement, what do? I write to the IT team, I raise a ticket and they come fix it, and that little drop gets submerged into the ocean of tickets and lost forever. Instead, that virtual currency system was all about, I need to pay virtual currency to that IT engineer.
Okay.
It's money, but it's virtual. So as an employee, I'm given a kitty, okay, a small a treasure of tokens. And depending on how fast the service has been, how good, how reliable, how prompt, how pleasing, I pay that person. Okay. And they become a profit center. Okay. So we experimented with this, and I don't know if it is still in vogue, but that brings a sense of accountability. A sense of accountability. If you talk to Amazon customer support, for example, Rita will pick it up, pass it on to Julia, and Julia will pick it on, pass it to Ram. And who am I thanking at the end? There is no sense of accountability, and all I am probably thankful for is to Amazon. Yeah. Bringing the human personification to it can really help. This frugality is all about accountability. If you can bring accountability, personal accountability, where each of us aims to wow the internal customer so much, and if we notice something that is repetitive, that is repeatable, that can be offloaded to a learning AI, then we should be empowered enough to do that.
Yeah. So you talk to a lot of customers, you go to a lot of events, you meet them in person. So for companies outside of tech, I'm sure they would be customers of Zoho, they would be using Zoho products. So for them, how realistic is it to implement all of these ideas that we've talked about into their day to day?
Outside of tech, what do you mean? Is the way the conversation is going today. If you are outside of tech, you're outside of business. Yeah.
Okay.
Technology is a very important base ingredient for you to run a meaningful business and make it productive and profitable. Yeah. But yes, I understand what you're saying. So if I were a hospital and we will have a tech team and an IT team, admission restricted kind of board. But what would they be doing inside that room? Primarily, they'll be looking at compliance, hospital records maintenance, and probably bills payment processing. But again, is that what you can take IT to? How about looking at the doctor-patient relationship as the product? How can you, because those are the two heroes of the hospital.
Yeah.
What can IT do to improve their game, that experience? How can you collect data? How can you predict behavior? How can you minimize waiting hours? How can you reduce error between a doctor being assigned the right patient and shown the right data? How can you make it just in time available? All this is IT. So if you can get out of that air-conditioned room where you are obsessing about billing, compliance, and digitizing records, and start looking at patient and hospital doctor relationship. Take educational institutions. Today, IT in school means bills, bill payment, and network support. Principal will complain saying internet, Wi-Fi, and yes, CCTV. Okay. These are the three that we are limiting ourselves to. The teacher and the student are the heroes. How about making their relationship the product? How can we think about improve? What features can you bring to this product? How can you empower the student to collaborate? There's a beautiful Sanskrit shloka which talks about the 4 phases of learning. The first phase is what you learn from the teacher. But that's not enough. That's just 1/4. The second 1/4 is what you learn from
each other,
the colleagues who are on the same path. The third phase is, okay, the second is what you learn by yourself. The third is what you learn by interacting with colleagues. And the fourth is what you learn over time.
Okay.
So if you look at it like that, how can you empower each of these? How can you empower teacher-based classroom learning, self-learning, peer learning? There are tools that you can work on. Yeah. And the data that you're collecting, is there an external stimulus about a viral fever spreading? Or is there a calendar of events about a long weekend coming up? And is there a correlation between a student playing truant or absenting himself or herself? And is there a correlation between an absenting student and his or her performance in school? Because if a student is performing very well, they wouldn't absent themselves. We actually make the mistake, as many educators, we think the person absents themselves so they are not performing well. That's not the case usually. They are not performing well, so the motivation goes down and hence absenting starts. So these are all data. This data today, once upon a time, there was this data scientist you needed to bring. Unfortunately, that poor guy, that poor lady has lost their job. Today, an NLM can do it equally well. Zia, for example, feed this data and ask for insights. Write in plain, natural language and get information. IT can enable this. But it needs to think silo-less data. So the biometric data that you're collecting shouldn't sit in some Oracle database, and the attendance data that you're collecting shouldn't sit in some Zoho creator form. It needs to fall into a data lake, as they say, into which you can swim.
That's true.
Yeah.
So I was coming to that. So when you mentioned about the schools, the IT department is actually even sitting in probably another building. And that is why I don't think they can actually relate to all of this. And they're so deep into their own work that I don't think they even have the time to look up from the table. Yeah. Same thing for hospitals as well. So they don't go on rounds, they don't go with the doctor. So I feel for that to happen, there needs to be a change in the department level. And let's see if this episode brings it to anybody who can actually initiate it.
At the essence of it all, I think Seth Godin says it very well. He says, start with that intent of who can I be of service to because of my unique ability. I have a unique ability and I have an intent. How can I train this intent in the right direction and be of meaningful service to a slice of humanity? You cannot be doing this to everybody. Only to a particular group of people who will listen to your story, who will appreciate, who will resonate with your story, who will like it so much that they can tell your story to somebody else. Yeah. So if you can do that kind of thinking, start with why. If you can start with why.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's why it's important for people to actually experience different things within any company they're working. So it's important for them to actually know what are the different departments and figure out if they can actually put their foot here and there. And
I'm actually happy you invited me in because ME is a fortress of its own on one side of Zoho Corporation, and it's a huge ocean. And there is another ocean, Zoho, which does its own style of work and its own set of products. Business wise, officially, for the outside world, there's a lot of intermingling. But within the company, it's not often that one comes here into this world and shares insights. So I find this very interesting.
I think it all started from me being at the Confluence, which was over schools. And then me
Nice.
figuring out, okay, I
Nice.
was working in Z Lab, so I was working the research field. Then I shifted into Manage Engine, and then I'm coming back to inviting you here.
Good. And at the end of the day, we are trying to solve problems for people. We are trying to put powerful tools into their hands. We want to educate them about the potential that this can bring. And then leave it to them. Right? We are just evangelists. We tell you the potential, the art of the possible, they say. Yeah.
Yeah, that. So, talking about the art of possibility, let's talk about how today's IT leaders and people who are going to become IT leaders tomorrow, is it important for them to actually experience whatever we were talking about? Like, experience what engineering is, experience what design is, so that you can actually build a good product.
Yeah. The book called Range, David Epstein is the author. And today, the time is ripe for the range person, not the specialist. Because if you're a specialist, there is an AI that can beat you at it. It is until AGI comes along, it is the range person, the generalist, who has multiple domains of knowledge and make those creative jumps and random connections meaningfully at the end, who can probably bank on specialist AI tools where needed. That is the person who will succeed and thrive in today's business environment. So, like you pointed out, it is extremely important for this IT team not to sequester themselves in a dark room in a corner. They need to live the experience. They can't have a faster internet primarily. Okay. They can't have a different Wi-Fi because they need to know. I think it was Mark Zuckerberg who did that for Facebook. For a very long time, Facebook used to load very well in good phones. Okay. But in poor internet connections on cheap phones, they didn't load properly at all. And Mark realized it only when he visited Africa once. Mm-hmm. The moment he came back from Africa, he instituted what he called 2G Tuesdays. Okay. 2G Tuesdays, when employees walk into the company on a Tuesday, the internet speed is set down to 2G. Okay. Everything sucked. And that's when they started programming Facebook with preloaders, light loaders, lower resolution. Right. They started discussing those ideas only when they realized there is a big world out there who are not as lucky as you are. So in design thinking, they call it GOOB, GOOB. Goob means get out of the building. Okay. Yeah. Go meet your customer. Go get into their shoes. Goob.
Yeah, I think that's actually very important for you to figure out So there's this very important phrase that developers use. Hey, it works on my laptop.
Yeah.
So
It's a joke.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So no, I mean it actually is true because
Yeah,
I,
it's
I
true.
was
Yeah.
working. So I think that's very important for you to figure
The
out.
second most favorite is, can you restart and try again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for you to come out of that mindset, for you to come out of the properly working systems that you've been used to, I think it's important for you to come out, see how other people are using it, because it's not the same way you use a product and it's not the same way somebody else will use a product. And I think that's where, you can learn a lot.
And the other part, the other side of it is also important. I hate it. I'm sure you know about how we celebrate IT System Engineers Day, Sysadmin Day. I hate it.
Okay.
Because, I mean, you can't rain on their parade every day of every year and on one day thank them. It's like thanking mom on Mother's Day. Yeah. I mean, seriously, one day, that's it. So we instituted a system in our team where we just thank a person. It's a little pat on the back. We thank a person for going the extra mile. We call it GEM, GEM, go the extra mile. So it need not wait for appraisal time. It need not, I may not even be influential in your appraisal, but I know what that little thing, that pat on the back at the right time can do to your mood.
Yeah.
So you do something, you do a little extra, immediately, frictionlessly, I create a little gem that I send your way that gets recorded in a big roll of honor against your name. It's there. It's a digital record of something that you did that you needn't have.
Yeah.
If you can institute that, thanking IT engineers and system support engineers, you don't need sysadmin day,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, perfect. So I think we've come to our last question, and I just want to wrap it up by asking you what's the one mindset change you wish to see or you wish to tell people so that they can actually go the extra mile and make a huge impact.
Okay. So let me use this go the extra mile analogy itself then. If impact is what you are aspiring for, I think the journey is much more important than the destination. And what you do every day, every hour of every day, is probably more important than some dream that you want to do someday. Yeah. One of these days is none of these days, they say. Yeah. So you are defined by what you do repeatedly, what you do every day. So stop, pause, introspect, look at what you're doing. Identify, we talked about product thinking. Identify those that an AI is soon going to replace or do better. Learn to be, they call it co-intelligence these days. Yeah. How can you be a co-intelligence to an AI that is surely coming whether you like it or not? Yeah. So this mindset, this inclusive mindset, there is only very little value I can offer. I cannot be the whole cake, but let me be the cherry. What can I be the cherry for? Where can I add unique, human, never reproducible, hyper customized value to the team I am in? If you start thinking like that, you uplift your own viewpoint and your mindset expands. And if more than one person starts thinking like that, there's a beautiful echo chamber, a resonance starts setting in, and your next product idea is right there.
Yeah, perfect, perfect. So yeah, it was a pleasure having you on my podcast, on
Thank
our
you.
podcast, and I'm looking forward to having another podcast with you soon.
Thank you.
Hope we can do that. And yeah, so that was Raj here with us on our podcast. And
May I interrupt?
sure.
A little about Nandini here. You can chop this off if you don't want. You were talking about advice for everybody. Is it the Oppo phone that says never settle?
Yeah.
I think it's one plus, never settle. She is an example of that. She imbibes that as a philosophy, as a personal philosophy. I remember how she joined us as a student here at Zoho Schools and settled in a role, asymmetric cryptography,
Yes.
homomorphic cryptography in Zoho Labs, and she was doing good work there. But there was this inner voice that kept telling her that there is more that you can do. There is something else that is your ikigai. Um, it wasn't telling her what it was. It was just telling her there is something. And it was left to her to, am I right?
Yes,
Yeah.
you're right.
She kept waking up to that sound. And over time, and thanks to the helpful environment perhaps that she has here, she found server room, which is one of the big things that she does in her new role. So to you, to the person listening to this, if there is an inner voice occasionally squeaking, silently tweeting in your mind, not letting you sleep persistently, I think you should wake up to it. Because Steve Jobs said, you live only one life. And such a sorry state of affairs if you live it following somebody else's version being imposed on you. Yeah, life is too short. You need to customize it to suit your needs. All the best.
Perfect. So, if I may add to what you said about you looking at the journey and not just the destination, I was reading an article written by one of my friends, and she said, what happens after you achieve a goal? Like, what is the next thing?
Okay.
Does anybody ever think about that?
Okay.
So that was something that I was reading about, and I just
This
wanted
also
to.
shall be over. What next?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, everybody puts in so much effort to reach that target, to reach that goal. But then what happens the instant right after you achieve it? Has anybody ever thought about that? Yeah.
Batman, the Christopher Nolan version, talks about the Joker, Oscar-winning Joker, Heath Ledger. And he says, I am like a dog chasing cars. I chase them.
Yeah.
I don't know what I will do when I catch them.
Yeah.
Yeah? So don't be that dog. Yeah.
That perfect. Thank you
Okay.
so much, Raj.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure having you
Thanks.
here. Yeah.
Thank you.